V format is definitely an interesting format as it does not only change the way many of the clans played, but also kind of make a huge improvement to the older clan that does keep its original playstyle. Dark Regulars kind of fall into a meta, but at the same time it is very weird as it did get some of the best support that it has ever received in years, but at the same time it also received quite a very imbalanced support, specifically due to the fact that the grade 2's lineup in the Dark Regulars are mainly purely for utilities and not defense or even offense, which is something that most of the Protect clans should do for.
Failing in the highest level.
However, things change with the introduction of Amon as it does introduce something new to the game while still retaining more or less a pretty much same playstyle, while also open up a flexibility that Dark Irregular kind of lacks for the past few years. Pujanlin has two abilities, one of which force both players to put a card from their hand into soul and draw a card. This may seem useless at first until you realize its second effect. At the start of your battle phase, if your opponent's soul has 6 or more cards, you may soul charge one, and if you soul charge, you choose one of your unit and it gets 5k until the end of turn.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And this is a theme of Amon archetype in V format, and that is they get more ability as opponent has more soul, specifically at least 6 cards in their soul, which kind of pay the attention to the fact that they are related to devil, so you know, the devil number. So this card in general are pretty crucial as of now, as it is a very powerful starter and it helps to filter your hand, though it is kind of the double-edged sword.
Disappointed!
That it kind of gives the opponent an advantage to set up theirs as well. Ranjanlin from the same clan collection also have a very similar effect in terms of what it does provide for both opponent and the players. When placed on Vanguard or rearguard, soul charge 1. Your opponent choose up to 1 card from their hand or rearguard and put it into their soul. If they did not put a card, you soul charge 1. This effect is very similar to Pujanlin's first effect in the sense that it gives opponent what I like to call a soul-free choice.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So for those who don't know what soul-free choice is essentially you are letting someone else pick a choice that will more or less benefit you. And in this case, it's the fact that they can choose to let us soul charge 1, gaining more advantage, or they're putting 1 card from the hand into the soul, reducing a resource that they may or may not lack. So in general, I think this is a very good effect. For most players, this can be a little bit hard to play around, but against very good players, this may or may not be good for the player who play the deck, as it can be, like I mentioned before, a double-edged sword. However, its second skill is far from being a double-edged. If opponent has 6 or more cards in the soul, this unit gets power 10k and also shield as well, and this active on the opponent turn. This makes fighting against deck that doesn't retire or having a heavy column unit in multiple occasions kind of easier because of the fact that this unit can just look after itself with its high power base power. It also allows the Dark Regular player to play Protect 2 without feeling that guilty, as it allows the player to make use of that additional 10k shield from the Ranjanlin effect itself and the additional 10k shield from the Protect, giving it a very solid defense.
Synergy.
And then comes the man of the hour, Demon Marquis Amon. It has 3 effects unlike the other 2, but all 3 effects are quite a banker. First X skill, once per turn, put 1 card from each of your rearguard hand and drop into your soul. Opponent choose, this is a mandatory, 2 cards from each of their rearguard hand and drop and put them into their soul. If opponent fail to do so, this unit get additional drive. This is essentially one of the biggest crux of a pure Amon deck, as it's not only help to control the opponent resource, it also a free soul charge 3 that doesn't cause a counter blast.
Nice.
And that's translated to the fact that Amon doesn't need to get hit early to play the game. Yeah, you do need to hit early to activate some of the soul charge effect, but you don't need to hit that many to really fully reap the benefit, as this card effect can get online on turn 3 instantly, and it doesn't have any other requirement, which means that this is very easy to play around with. Its second skill and third skill are kind of contingent with each other, with the amount soul you call accumulating and the amount soul the opponent is accumulating. Constant Vanguard or rearguard during your turn, this unit gets 5k for every rearguard in your soul. If this unit is on Vanguard, it gains 10k instead. And last constant effect, this unit gets 1 crit for every 6 card in your opponent's soul. This just re-explain what Amon do. You charge a lot with his effect or other cards on the field, and then you gain a lot of crit as you putting more Reka into their soul, and just hit really hard with the Vanguard attack.
Damn, boy. Damn, boy, he's sick!
And with maybe some occasional very hitting Reka attack with things like Dorian and, you know, Emblem Master for example, if you are a Psycho. But yeah, overall this is a really good boss unit, as not only it doesn't have any setup needed, it also have a very free escort and the best out of all of the boss unit that is currently available in Dark Irregulars. I know Dantarian exists, but that is for defensively. This one is being used aggressively. And with that, we can kind of sum up Amon's archetype pros and cons into a few bullet points. Its pro is the fact that it has ability to control opponent's resource from almost everywhere with the exception of soul, while still being extremely free to use in most of their unit costs, as it doesn't require a lot of counterblast. And this opens up to a lot of flexibility in the deck, as you can run many of the different Dark Irregular units, the non-relevant one as well, in this deck, and it will somehow work wonderfully. The problem with this deck boils down to generally 3 issues. One is that it's still a 3 attack deck. Even if you run with things like No Life King, it's still a very awkward 3 attack deck that can get easily countered. Second is the fact that this Sophie choice that you give to the opponent, if they know what to do, it can be your downfall. And last but very important to me is the fact that it does use a lot of resource, which means that it does eat into your defense, and to an extent it's still not a perfect integration with the protect identity of Dark Irregular. Here's my current deck list of my Amon deck, which focusing on Vanguard huge column while still helping to draw more cards using cards like Numbers of Terror and Dementor to just recover the loss that you use through the skill. Also, Hope on them is a great option to have in this deck, as it forces the opponent to guard interval of 20k, which can be very troublesome for them. And I decided to run one Doppel as essentially just a fodder for Amon effect if needed too. I also decided to go for Succubus of Pure Love for its ability to be able to fetch a grade 3 while also being a beast stick, which is something this deck kind of need, as you suck in your rear guard at least one of them every turn. Rodia is also a very good tech choice in my opinion, and it helps to protect against certain Axel deck in your turn 2 together with your Heal Guardian. So it's kind of a very off-place synergy that you can see right here. A few other possible tech choice you can include in this deck is including Gildarius with its ability to kind of help to recycle the certain unit in your drop zone, and also a Succubus of Avarice which help to fetch the grade 3 and also filter a deck better than Succubus of Pure Love, and also Yellow Bolt.
Nice.
I mean, who doesn't like Yellow Bolt? But yeah, if you guys have any suggestion on what can be done more to the deck itself, do leave down in the comments below. And that is all I have for today. I hope this is a little bit more interesting with the way I kind of cover the cards, and it is essentially a different way of doing a deck profile. I borrowed this idea from Rata from Yu-Gi-Oh! Top 10 actually, so if you want to thank this format, give him a visit. Like, if you don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Just visit him. His channel is hilarious. So that's all I have for today guys. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, consider like, share and subscribe to this channel. I'm trying to hit the 1000 sub goal here, so any engagement will be really appreciated. And I hope you enjoy this different take on what I do with the deck profile, as I don't have a good camera setup right now. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Take care of yourself, and this is Megane signing out.